with states, and where states are doing the right thing, raising the bar, having higher standards, being thoughtful about teacher and principal evaluation support, turning around underperforming schools. We want to give those states a lot more flexibility. The best ideas in education are never going to come from me or, frankly, from anyone else in Washington. They're always going to come at the local level. We're seeing tremendous courage, tremendous leadership at the state level. We need to get this law off of people's back and let people continue to improve at the local level where the real action is.
As we mentioned, it would be done by an executive order here, and I'm just curious what this is a result of, and I'm sure it's a result of an amalgamation of factors, but specifically I want to ask you about some of these cheating scandals. I mean, how much of this decision was impacted by these scandals across the country, certainly Atlanta for one, where you have these teachers who are just trying to teach the test to approve proficiency to comply with No Child Left Behind?
Yeah, well, obviously that kind of behavior is very, very disappointing and unacceptable. We don't want anyone teaching to the test. All of us have to have integrity in what we do. But honestly, that was no part of our calculation, our decision.
No part at all.
I've traveled the country. I've been to 44, 45 states. No part at all. Rural, urban, suburban. Everybody is asking for relief. Everybody is asking for more flexibility. They don't want Washington to be so top-heavy. When I ran the Chicago public schools, I had to come to this building and meet in my conference room and beg the federal government, beg our Department of Education for the right to tutor my children after school. About 25,000 children wanted to work harder, wanted to have additional tutoring. Washington didn't want to give me that flexibility. That made no sense. That lesson has stayed with me. And where folks are working hard, where they're doing the right thing by children, where they're raising standards, reducing dropout rates, where we're seeing growth and gain, we've got to give folks more room to move. These are tough economic times. We have to give them more flexibility.
So you mentioned, back home in Chicago, you have Illinois, you have all these different 50 states, I know, who are encouraged to apply for these waivers, essentially waiving the law's proficiency requirements. But for a waiver to be approved, be specific with me, Secretary Duncan. I mean, what sorts of programs, what sorts of ambitions will the state have to show?
Well, basically, we've seen amazing progress and courage at the state level over the past 2.5 years. 44 states have raised standards, college and career-ready standards for every single child. That's an absolute game changer. Under No Child Left Behind, unfortunately, many states dummied down standards, reduced them. We're actually lying to children, lying to parents because it made politicians look good. Bad for children, bad for education, bad for the states, ultimately bad for our country, but that happened in far too many places. We've seen, again, a tremendous move in the opposite direction, raising standards, where folks are doing that, where they're being very thoughtful about teacher and principal evaluation support. We want to give them a lot more room to move. That's
but
what
you talk about some of the goals.
Reward courage, reward high standards.
Forgive me for interrupting, but what specifically, what will these schools have to prove, have to offer to get a waiver?
Well, we're still working through that package. We will announce the final package next month after Labor Day. But I tried to hit on a couple of the key points. Where there are high standards, we want to partner with folks. Where they're dumbing down standards, reducing them, that's not a state we want to partner with. Where districts and states are focusing on growth and gain rather than absolute test scores, how much are folks improving? We want to work with them. Where they're being very thoughtful and creative around teacher and principal evaluation, we want to work with them. Where they're willing to challenge the status quo in very low-performing schools, dropout factories, where 50, 60, 7% of students are dropping out. Where we're seeing real courage, Brooke, that's where we want to partner. And we're seeing an amazing amount of leadership, again, from states. We want to give them the room to continue to move in the right direction.
I think a lot of people